Hospital porters, pride and dignity, stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panway TV and welcome to Newcastle-upon-Tyne. Yes, I've arrived at Truth Seekers North East. I'm making more than one video of my visit here, which includes a video of my talk and my journey. But this is the traditional off-duty video, which I may upload this first actually. But either way, along with my talk, I'm going to spend a lot of time with my friends, going places and exploring, and I have some very interesting things to show you. So let's go. Good morning, everyone. It is Saturday morning, and after last night's event, it's
Hi, everybody.
Hello, Richard.
Hello.
Richard. You know Richard, don't
Morning,
you?
everyone.
Yeah, and we're now in the Ritz.
And me.
And Maureen, of course. Yeah, who's not camera shy at all. Yeah, after last night's event, which went really well, we decided to come, of course, to this is the Ritz. JD Wetherspoon, of course. Where else? And we're going to have the Wetherspoon's breakfast. And then we're going on a little expedition. I'm going to show you somewhere which you probably heard of, but you'll no doubt find interesting. Oh my God, that's one of the parkour people.
I think it was a BMX.
I'm going to show you the view now, ladies and gentlemen, as we go over the Tyne Bridge. This is the most famous of the bridges in the city, and you can see that there's an archway over the top of it. You see there's this famous steel arch, and the view is incredible because this is really high up, this bridge. There's only, I think it's that bridge over there is a bit higher, but yeah, you get like a massive view here. It's really amazing. We're heading to Gateshead. You may be able to guess where we're going. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm now in Headley Street, Bensham Gateshead. You can see behind me. This house here, number 29, Headley Street. A man called Robert Hall used to live. Now, please, a little disclaimer: please don't go knocking on their door. All right, just leave them in peace. It's a private residence, and no one who lives there now is of any interest to us. But basically, I'm here with Richard and Maureen. Now, this is a site of where there was a strange encounter that happened here a long time ago, isn't there, guys?
Yeah, it's the case is known as the Gateshead Grave.
This is the location of a very, very strange event. We're in Benjamin Gateshead. This is Headley Street, just there, as you can see here. And something very strange happened here a long time ago. In fact, this is up there is a Saltwell Road. Now, this happened in June 1940. Is it June 1940?
I can't remember.
It was sometime in 1940. In this house here is where Robert Hall lived. Robert Hall was a 5-year-old boy. This was just after the start of World War II. Britain had declared war on Germany a few months earlier, but the war hadn't really got going yet. But on Saltwell Road, there was a parade of thousands of soldiers walking past, and Robert was watching them, and then he and his friend, a kid called was it Alex, the kid was called, I remember. Yeah. They ran down here. They used to play a lot along in this area when kids used to go out to play rather than sit at home vegetating in front of computers. And they ran down here to this where they would play around with this, and this little back alleyway by the railway line. The railway track is over there. This metal fence used to be a wooden fence, and there used to be less undergrowth in those days. But they ran down here, and around about this area here, just before he got to about here, he said that it was like looking through a fire where there's hot air and it's all distorted, which is an amazing description for to make. This witness, he's a elderly, quite simple chap, speaks with very strong Geordie. He has been interviewed several times by several different researchers, and they comment on what a good witness he is. Yeah, and he said that what happened was, round about where I am now, on this area here, he saw a parked flying saucer, and he said it was quite small. He describes it as being just round about here. This was where this wall of mist was. And apparently it was like a gap at the bottom which he could sneak underneath. He and his friend sort of like dipped underneath it, and there was what looked like a saucer-shaped object here. And he said it was only about 10 feet across. So it would have fitted quite easily here onto this junction. And he experienced an abduction. He said that along this wall here, there were aliens, lots of aliens sort of lined up, almost like the soldiers on parade he'd just seen earlier on Saltwell Road. There were greys, including one that's only about 1.5 feet tall. There was something he described as being like Bigfoot or Chewbacca. He described it as being like Chewbacca in another interview. And including a Nordic, what you call like a Nordic, a humanoid alien. Just going to get out of the way, it's a car coming past. It's all lined up along here. This is where this graffiti is here. Most of this is original, that wall is clearly newer. But most of this area hasn't actually changed much in the last 82 years. And he literally he experienced an abduction, didn't he, Richard?
Yeah.
He had an abduction experience, and there's some noises going on, strange noises. I hope we don't get the aliens today. And after that, where was the coal yard, Richard?
I don't know. This is the first time I've actually visited this
Right.
location.
I think it's up here, I think. So we're going to go to a slightly different location now, because we can talk more about the abduction experience maybe later. I can't recall all the details, but what I do know, Richard referred Robert Hall to Daryl Sims, who's another researcher from the United States. And Daryl was, I've met Daryl actually, he's very proficient. He was very impressed with what a good witness Robert was. Because Robert was an elderly man, he was early to mid 70s. He'd be close to 100 now if he was still alive.
Oh, he's still alive.
Yeah. He's not the kind of guy who really could make stuff up. He's quite like, don't want to be insulting to him, but he's not terribly sort of like ingenuous. Do you know what I mean? He's
not the sort of guy who talks with fiction.
Yeah. I just pause there. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to try and find out where the coal yard was. It was either up there or up there. We'll find it anyway, because I've been to the location where the coal yard was, and I've seen you'll show you the curbstone where 5-year-old Robert tripped up. So we're just going to go and find that now. This here is the railway line is the East Coast Main Line from Newcastle, and now it's a sign of the nanny state that this used to be a simple wooden fence in 1940. And in fact, Robert said some girls saw the aliens and they were so frightened they climbed over this fence up onto the railway line, risked getting hit by trains because it was so frightening. But of course, if the aliens came back now, the girls would be dead in the water, wouldn't they? Because, well, not the aliens killed anyone, but they'd be caught very easily because what's this thing here? Apparently there's just a Jewish quarter around here. It's a very Jewish area around here. Some big cities have Jewish quarters. I don't know if I can't see synagogues or anything. That's I think it's up here. There's like an alleyway. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a lane. These alleyways run between the various streets in this area, and it was actually on. We don't know the exact spot. Now, I came here with Richard D. Hall years ago. When I was actually on his show, this was about 10 years ago, and he showed me the exact spot where it happened. Now we're looking for it, but we're not sure. But believe it or not, one of the aliens sort of ran away up this street, and he was actually chasing Robert.
Yeah.
And then we don't know the exact spot. He was chasing Robert down the street. Now, Robert has someone called Uncle Ernie. Uncle Ernie was actually still alive when Richard was investigating this, but although he'd have been quite old, 90-something, I think. And he's no longer with us, of course. But Robert, like I say, would be close to 100 now if he was still alive. But as he ran up the street here, I think it was on the other side of the road, Uncle Ernie, there was a coal yard up here. I think it may have been on the corner where the alleyway is, where Uncle Ernie worked. He was a coal man, and this creature was running after Robert. And
he said it kind of looked like Bigfoot. There was a description of like a Bigfoot character, and there's also like it had a skeletal figure, and it had like some kind of coat on.
It was actually one of the greys that chased Robert.
Yeah.
But he got to the location, and Uncle Ernie came out and saw. God knows what he went through his head when he saw this. This was in the days before science fiction was a really big thing. most, there were a few science fiction films back then, but not, it wasn't like it is today. He saw this creature he would not have recognised chasing his nephew up the road, and he basically got out instinctively. He had a coal shovel in his hand, and he whacked the creature on the head. Boosh! Robert tripped on the curbstone up here. We don't know if that was the exact curbstone, and Uncle Ernie whacked him on the head, and they dragged the alien into the coal yard, and then they went to find a policeman.
Yes.
And what happened next is very interesting, because the alien was then moved by the police. We're going to go there now. Okay, guys and gals, I'm going to insert a little clip in here, an extra scene, which I'm doing in the studio with Google Earth. And the reason is I made some mistakes at the first location we visited. It should teach me to do my research properly before I begin an expedition, I hear you shout. You love it when this happens, don't you? You know you do. Okay, here I am on Google Earth. Here is the bottom of Headley Street, which is where we started out. And right, to begin with, the UFO did not actually appear here at the bottom of Headley Street. That's just where the young chap Robert lived. It actually appeared at the bottom of Stevenson Street, which is here. There we go. This is the bottom of Stevenson Street. Right, now to continue where I made mistakes, little Robert did not run up Headley Street in 1940. He ran up Stevenson Street here. Now, Uncle Ernie's coal yard was here. I don't know if it's probably still not a coal yard. Uncle Ernie's. This is the curb where he tripped. That's one of these here is the famous curbstones. And Uncle Ernie's coal yard is behind this gate. It's very old. It may very well be the original gate. Actually, it's so old. Uncle Ernie came out with his coal shovel, and booshed the alien just there. Now, you'll be glad to know, and indeed you will see, that even though I got those locations wrong, we were actually at the locations where these things happened. We did actually visit the locations where these things happened, and I did actually say when we were walking down this alleyway here that I was uncertain of the actual proper location. Here we're back on Headley Street now. So sorry about that, guys. Sorry about that. Now, the reason I corrected myself, actually not from. I did rewatch Richard's documentary, but I could have actually corrected myself simply from my own publication here. Now, I know hardly any of you read the Herbanmo blogs, but here's a blog article I wrote actually back in April 2012, a long time ago. It's called Pre-Roswell Roswells, referring to Roswell-type incidents that happened before July 1947, and I do include the Gateshead Grey, which actually is. I have a whole article here, which is basically based on Richard D. Hall's research, and not just his research, but also I add a few extra bits here. I talk about Jan Zidlecki's 1976 encounter in Leeds. So I add different little bits in here, which it reminds me of. Now, here's the original photos I took, and as you can see, it was pitch dark. There's the bottom of Headley Street. That's the 29 Headley Street, where Robert lived as a little boy. And this is the bottom of Stevenson Street, where the alien appeared, and there is the gate of Uncle Ernie's coal yard. And then this is, what's this here? These are that's the film. That's the photo I took. That's the photo I took at the church, with the steps leading down to the crypt, which we did go to see, and I did get that right. You'll be glad to know. So, correction made, I think. This here used to be St Cuthbert's Church. Now it's been deconsecrated. Apparently, it's no longer a church, and it has been developed into other things. But you can see quite clearly by its architecture that it was a church, quite an old one. Now, the alien in 1940 was brought to this location, and was actually stored in the basement. The basement at the time was just a crypt. It was just like a very undeveloped, ruined crypt, a derelict crypt. And it still was that in 2010 when Richard D. Hall went there. However, it has, we believe, been turned into something else. We're going to try and find the steps now leading down into the crypt. Now, as I explained, I have been here before. I came here with Richard D. Hall, but it was dark. it was very dark and the night had fallen, and I didn't want to risk this. The steps, as you'll see, are very steep and narrow, and I didn't want to risk them in the dark. Otherwise Richard would have had to drag me out with a broken leg. But we're now going to head for the steps, which I believe are on this side of the building somewhere. Are they? Right. This, as you can see here, this is now something like a cafe of some kind, but we're just going to go around here to see if we can find the steps. Richard knows the story of what happened, wasn't it? It was,
Yeah.
You were just reading it, weren't you, about what happened?
Yeah, so the policemen shoved it in a coal sack and
The cult, yeah.
they kind of took it off to the church here. And that's where the story goes a bit further.
Yeah. They must have carried it up the hill, because the Headley Street is down that way. They must have carried it up the hill, maybe in the back of a police car. They must have wondered what the hell they were going to do with this thing. And here it is. They eventually called the army, and the army came and took it away. It was there for a few days, wasn't it, down here? So now we're going to see if I can get down here. It's down here, let's have a look. Ooh, I don't know if you guys want to follow, but here we go. I'm just going to... Right, see, if I had put on any more weight, I wouldn't fit down these steps. Look at this. God blimey. You've got to watch your head here, mate. They kept it in the cellar now. Well, there's like a door here now. This wasn't here before. You could actually get in. You could actually get in there and have a look around. Well, you maybe get to it from the other side. What do you reckon?
Well, I
don't know.
It seems like a kind of one entrance deal.
Yeah.
Looks like it's been here a while. Oh, look at the hinges. They're all rusty.
It must have been. Yeah. It must have. Yeah. Look. Yeah. It must have been open. The door was open when Richard came in. But apparently, did you guys bring Andrew Johnson here? What did he think of it?
Well, it wasn't open at the time.
Oh, right. But that, anyway, they kept the alien down there for a few days, and I don't know if the vicar knew anything, but you could just imagine what the vicar would have said, you know. Goodness gracious me, what on earth are you doing? You have this thing underneath my church, I won't have it, I won't have it. But anyway,
I'm sure he loved all of God's creatures equally.
yeah, that includes aliens. Look, Cotsfield Mirrors, this is now the businesses using this location, apparently. We're now going to go and see a bit more investigation, see what we can find out.
I'll just take a video of you in the church here. It's a lovely cafe, isn't it? This is inside the church. Wow.
Amazing cafe.
Fantastic.
There's like crockery up on the ceiling. It's really it's got a lovely atmosphere, a lot of decoration.
Oh, look at the mirrors. Oh.
It's amazing, isn't it?
God, look.
It's got a very interesting atmosphere.
Yeah. Where do you want to sit? Look at this one. Oh, look at that.
Oh.
Isn't it fab?
That's like an NFT.
What do you think, Ben?
It's a beautiful location, this, with mirrors, and it's got like drapes, and these are just plain white ones, but they've got some decorated ones out there. It gives it a kind of tent-like feel, sort of like somewhere in the Middle East. And there's crockery on the ceiling, and
Fab, isn't it?
it's a lovely place. It really, really is. It's beautiful. So yeah, I'm a very, very, very nice place indeed.
Wow.
I love this thing. If I had £3 I'd be taking it home.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's well worth it. It's lush.
Wait, I think my teas are here. Oh, no, they're not. Oh, wow.
Richard and Maureen and I are in a place called Cotsfield's Mirrors at St Cuthbert's. It's actually as I said, you could see some of it here. Maureen's filmed a lot more, and I'll probably use some of her footage if she's okay with that. But Yeah, this is a beautiful location actually, a very well decorated cafe that is in the location of the old church within the building. The building is a Grade 2 listed building, but it's obviously converted into this cafe. Now, I've been doing a little bit of exploring to see if, just to see if there's any way of accessing the crypt from inside, and it appears there's not. I found the location where the crypt is, so I've been basically on the floor above the crypt. But it appears that the steps at the side, which I showed you earlier, those narrow steps, are the only way to access the crypt. Now, which means that the policeman who took the alien from Uncle Ernie's coal yard in a coal sack, as Richard was explaining, not much. They must have taken the being down those side steps. Yeah. Maybe without the vicar knowing about it. It's possible that the creature was kept there for a number of days. May well have been kept here without the knowledge of the vicar or any of the clergy in the church or the congregation.
Well, I think through probably the police report, and because there was an MIB kind of visit for Mr. Hall, wasn't there? I think because of the police report, probably the authorities got wind of it and kind of sent out the official team to come and have a word.
Robert was harassed by a man in an RAF uniform and another man in a turquoise RAF uniform, which means he was not part of the Royal Australian Air Force. The thing about it is, though, it's possible these uniforms could have been disguises, and these men were actually not RAF. But he was harassed by these people. Basically, it's the usual Men in Black story, and shut up, don't tell anyone about what you saw. So even though in 1940 it was obvious that the police and the army were confused.
This was 7 years before Roswell, and obviously with the Roswell event, kind of the UFO thing exploded after that. But because this case is pre-Roswell, I think it's particularly curious that he got a visit from this Men in Black.
As I said, this was even during the Roswell incident in 1947. I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but the people, according to the witnesses, the personnel who attended the scene seemed to know what they were doing, as if there was an established unit specifically for dealing with this very unusual duty, which indicates, as I've always said, Roswell was not the first Roswell, was it?
They mustn't have been judging by a Men in Black visit in 1940. It makes you wonder how far back it goes. There was in the late 1800s, there was the first real reports of UFOs, apart from the event in the 1500s in Basel in Switzerland, and I forget where the other one was, but that was kind of
Nuremberg.
The Nuremberg reports. But other than that, pre-1947, you don't really hear many reports, any reports of kind of visits from Men in Black or Air Force officials, and all very curious.
It is very curious indeed. I mean, we've had like, it's been a really strange, it's been an interesting experience coming here, and we're going to try and find out more about this. But although Richard D. Hall has researched this thoroughly and has received no kind of, he's kind of came to a dead end. No one really knows what happened after the alien was taken and that Robert Hall and all the witnesses were silenced.
We can only assume that the usual thing would happen. It's been covered up. You've got to visit an official visit and got told to keep your mouth shut. And so it's got all the pardon the pun, all the hallmarks of of a cover-up.
Definitely, yeah. Well, that was a very interesting trip around the Tyneside area. We visited some very, very interesting locations, and of course I visited the amazing place where the Gateshead Grey took place. That was quite incredible, and I mean, it'd be nice to go back there and have another look at some point. But because I do hope to be returning to Truth Seekers Northeast very soon. I've had a wonderful time here, actually. It's been great fun, and I'm going to miss my friends when I leave. I miss them enormously. It's been lovely to see them again. This is a lovely location, it really is. Thank you all of you for watching Hapanwo TV. Hospital Porters, Pride and Dignity, Stop the New World Order.